the Weekly Show with David J. Maloney.
This week, David chats with progressive rock legend Arjen Anthony Lucassen.
And now, here's your host, David J. Maloney.
Welcome, everyone, to the Weekly Show. I'm your host, David G. Maloney. Back with us again tonight is musician Arjen Anthony Lucassen. Arjen may not be a household name in the mainstream, but in the world of progressive rock and metal, he is nothing short of legendary. He's the mastermind behind epic concept albums, sprawling musical universes, and genre-bending operas, which have featured some of the biggest names in the business. Whether it's Arion, Star One, Guilt Machine, or his solo projects, he has carved out a singular space in modern music. Back again tonight to finish chatting about it all, as well as his brand new record, Songs No One Will Hear, is none other than musician Arjen Anthony Lucassen. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We talked a little bit about how you work on the music itself, but the characters in your albums, do you approach them like a novelist, kind of where you have an idea when you begin, or did they evolve as the songs themselves unfold?
Everything evolves. It's baby steps. Really, when I start, I have a lot of plans, but I never stick to the plans. It changes all the time. The characters is weird. As I said, I finish the music first, then I figure out a concept. Okay, what is it going to be about? Then I'm going to pick the singers that I think will fit the concept. Who will, if I do science fiction, for instance, I know there will be certain singers who are like, hey, science fiction doesn't belong in music. So then I pick the singers. And I adapt the characters to the singers. So it's weird. A good example is my third album, Into the Electric Castle. It has a Highlander, and it's Fish of Marillion. It wasn't like I have a Highlander in my story, so now I got to find someone from Scotland, because that would limit me, you know? It's the other way around. I had Fish. I said, okay, what kind of character would you like to play in this story? Because anything is possible. And he was like, a Highlander, you know, as a big fan of the movie at that point, I guess. So yeah, I adapt the characters in my story to the singers. And yeah, to answer your question, it changes from day to day. So I constantly adapt. Is the singer not available? Okay, I'll change the lyrics. Really, it's baby steps from the beginning.
Yeah, but that's an interesting approach, because there are some people who, like, you know, when they're weaving together such complex, multi-perspective narratives across an album, there'd be a temptation to outline them like a screenplay, or to have them come about more organically. But in this case, it almost seems as if you're saying you start with the music and then you go, okay, which voice complements the music? Okay, now what is the best subject matter for this voice to sing? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, totally.
That's it seems like a very different approach than a lot of
people
take.
It is, and I had to learn that, because my first two albums that we talked about, Final Experiment and Action Fantasy, I didn't have that. I had the story. This is the story, and I have to stick to this story, and the singers have to stick to my melodies. I was really strict in that until I started working with singers like Fish or like Bruce Dickinson, who don't give a shit what I say, you know, or they don't care what kind of melody I send them, you know, they're going to do their thing. And I hear that it's way better than all the ideas I had. So I really had to learn to open myself up to that, open myself up to change, not sticking to the original idea. Let the change come if it makes the project better.
You've collaborated with so many vocalists. Can you think of an instance where a singer's performance kind of changed the direction of a character or moment in a story that you went, okay, mid-flight, you're gonna, make some changes to accommodate?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And that's why I want the singers in my studio, which is getting harder and harder. Nowadays with the internet, you just send each other files and it's so much easier and most of all, so much cheaper. But so far, I managed to get them all to my studio. And that's so important, because you keep changing things. When they're standing next to me, hey, this doesn't work. You grab the guitar, try a harmony, try to sing this lower, and even change lyrics. When I work with people like Russell Allen, for instance, of Symphony X, he has so many good ideas, and so yeah, that definitely happens. But yeah, like I said, it happens less because nowadays it's more. People don't have time anymore also, or they're touring or whatever. So they prefer to just do it in their own studio and send me the file, it saves a lot of time, of course.
Yeah, it does. But there's certain things that just don't translate quite the same way, right? I mean, there's something to be said for, being in the studio and being able to, like you said, just either walk to the other room on the other side of the glass and have a conversation and you go, well, how about if we did this? What if we did that? What I mean? It's different. And your ability to work in real time.
Totally. And not even glass. I want them standing next to me constantly, and there's even some singers, they watch my arms, if they see the goosebumps come up, that's, it gives them extra inspiration. No, I want them next to me. I don't have all these rules. It's just that my studio is just my bedroom, basically, or a bedroom, with a computer, and I don't have all these stuff on the walls to make it acoustically perfect. That's not what it's about for me. I just want that singer next to me. And if there's a little bit of reverb or you hear me making some noises, it doesn't matter.
So you play so many instruments and produce so much yourself. How do you know when a song is done? Is it tough to know when to stop layering?
No, not at all. No. I know. I really, it's tougher, I think, to take stuff away, to kill your darlings, which you have to do at some point. If you have too many ideas, then you got 3 synthesizers going and a flute and a cello, it's like, no, I want this to be acoustic. Let's erase the synthesizers, delete the synthesizers. But they sound really great. Yeah, but the cello and the violin, they're real organic instruments. And so, yeah, I know. I simply know.
Instinctively.
It's instinctively, yes. Yeah, I don't have many talents. No, really. I'm not an amazing singer or an amazing guitar player or an amazing this but I do see the big picture. That's my strength. I know if I invite a singer, I know it's gonna work. If I have the story for the music, I know the story will fit the music, and instinctively I feel when a song is ready. That's never been hard for me.
You mentioned compromises in a band setting.
Oh yeah.
Before, with so much control over your process now, do you ever miss working in a traditional band setting? I mean, is there any additional magic to it, or was it that limiting to you that you don't miss it at all?
Not for me. I hated it. All those songs we wrote with the band in the rehearsal room, they're terrible, But having said that, Lennon, McCartney, Page, Plant, Gilmore, Waters, it is possible. I've just not experienced. Maybe I'm just too much of a control freak. But if you look at the solo stuff of the Beatles, I mean, it can't compare with what they did together, And totally the same goes for Gilmore and Waters. You need that combination, and but no, I don't have that at all. I'm like, oh, I can do my own thing, and total control freak.
Let's talk about your newest release, Songs No One Will Hear. If you could hand this album to your younger self, what do you think he'd say?
He'd be very proud of me, I think. he'd be like, "Hey, I recognize this. This is yeah, you heard that from Alice Cooper, right?" He would hear all the music that I stole, that kids nowadays won't hear. That's what I hear. No, I often think about that, and I guess he would be like, "Hey, you can sing after all." Because really, as a kid, I was looking up to the Ronnie James Dios of this world, and of course, totally, I can't sing like that. I have a tiny little voice, but I guess he would be like, "Hey, you found your limitations, and you sound kind of cool as a singer." He would be surprised, I think, but I think he would like the album.
Where did the central idea for this record come from? Was there one seed, one idea that eventually bloomed into the album, or was it did it come in a completely different way?
Well, again, it started with the music, and I listened to the music, and it was so eclectic, even more eclectic than ever. And it had these very happy songs, and it had these very sad songs, and it had these huge epic songs and tiny little acoustic songs and parts that I was like, I'm gonna need a concept, that that fits with this. So it was a long think, like what concept fits with it. And suddenly I was like, what would people do if they knew they only had 5 months to live? What would they do with their lives? And I thought, whoa, that gives me a lot of options, because some people might be like, "Hey, we have 5 months left, let's party." And other people would be like, "Oh my God, I don't want to live through this, I don't want to know about this," or So all these different emotions, because my music is always, and my lyrics are always about emotions. They gave me a lot of options in this concept.
Now, you said earlier that when you're doing this stuff, you only put out stuff that you are really excited about. Nevertheless, is there a song on this album that surprised you with how well it turned out, or took on some type of unexpected life during recording?
Well, with my previous solo album, Lost in a New Reel, I had this long song. I had a 12-minute song, an epic song, and it's my favorite song that I wrote ever. And it was really a challenge for me on this album to make a song that equals that one, or maybe even better. So I think that song, which is called Our Final Song, that was a big challenge for me. And at some point I thought, well, the other one was 12 minutes. If it's, I make this 15 minutes, it will be 3 minutes better than the other one. But it like we discussed earlier, I had the beginning, and I suddenly saw the flow, and one idea merged into the next one. So yeah, I surprised myself with that song, I think.
You just released the single "We'll Never Know" with Floor Jansen, which I really love, and I'd encourage everyone to check out, even if prog rock isn't your thing. Tell us about the story of that song and what made Floor the right person to collaborate with on it.
Well, it's a very sad song, but there's also a little bit of hope in the chords, and it's weird. This usually doesn't happen to me, but this song was handed to me. I'm not talking spiritually again, but I was like, I didn't have any ideas, I didn't have any lyrics, and I just started singing that chorus. And every time at some point I was like, "We'll never know," and okay, we'll never know. What would that mean? So that's how it started. And I usually don't work that way. I come up with the title much later, but it started with the title, and we'll never know. And you got a concept. Okay, people know they're gonna die. So yeah, if you expect a child, a little baby girl in this song, and she will never be born, and you'll never know what she would have been like I thought, well, is that too heavy? Is it too heavy, or is it manipulative? I was afraid of that, like, oh, it's so sad, it will make people cry. And then I sent it to Floor because she's a mommy herself and she's a very emotional person. I mean, I know her for so long now. I recorded her when she was 19 or something, she just started out. And I was like hoping, oh my God, Floor is the only one who can sing this song. Please, please let her do it, or I wouldn't even put it on the album. And she heard it, and luckily I explained the story to her. I thought I have to tell her what it's about. She might be like, "Hey, I'm a mother and I don't like this," but she loved it, and it really gave her extra inspiration to pour her heart out, basically.
Do you have a favorite musical idea, be it a chord progression, lyric, guitar lick, or something from this album that earlier we were talking, you went like this and your hair's and do you have particular songs on the album that do that, or do they all do that, or is there one that does it for you more than the rest?
Well, all the songs that didn't do it for me are not on the album. Let's put it that way.
That's a fabulous answer, by the way.
Yeah, I'm proud of that one.
So this album not being an Arjen release, did it do anything different for you creatively? Maybe open a different door, bring out a different tool belt?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, me as a singer, I'm very limited, so I can't do over the top proggy songs, where I have Jorn Lando or Bruce Dickinson or Russell Allen in mind. That's just not going to work because I can't sing that way. And then again, I'm a Beatles fan, so the Beatles will seep in more into a solo album than in an Arjen album. I think my style of singing is also, it's like I think it's more British than American. So immediately you get this Beatles feel. The big difference, of course, is that like 80% of the vocals are mine, while on the last few Arjen albums I wasn't even singing. So.
As of today, there are 2 songs available, We'll Never Know and Our Final Song. Is there a song that we haven't heard yet? Like, what's the next one to come out that you're excited to put out there? And is there and what's the story on that one?
Good question. Yes, we finished the clip today, actually. First, there's this really silly song on the album called Shagathon. Actually, I was surprised, the label Inside Out Music, they wanted that as a single. And Shagathon, you can guess what it's about. I mean, you can't avoid it, It's like people have 5 months to live. What are you going to do? Okay, people will prove not to be as monogamous as they think they are. And the world will turn into one big orgy. And I was like, what kind of video clip are you going to make for that one? I have what are you going to get away with? And I thought, no, that's going to be too silly. And so we just finished the song God Conspiracy, which is, of course, a hot topic at the moment, with all the AI, with like not knowing what is real and what is not real anymore. So I thought it's one of my favorite songs, too. It's a straight ahead rocker, which I also think is cool after the very atmospheric We'll Never Know, and the very sad We'll Never Know. We get Goddamn Conspiracy, which is a semi-humorous look at all the conspiracy theories.
What do you have coming up in the near future, which either our audience or fans would be really excited to hear about? Is it the release of these additional songs, or something else entirely?
It's getting close. 1.5 months. I have Arjen shows again, and as I told you, I'm not a performer really, and I have stage fright, so it's very scary for me. But we started doing this in 2015, after Arjen already existed for 20 years without playing live, and it's a big success. So yeah, it's become a thing that we do every 2 years. Um, and we sell out 15,000 tickets in minutes. It's scary, and so yeah, we're working on that now. We're rehearsing, and we're. I mean, we've been working on it for a year, but there's still a lot to do with merch, with the whole the LED screen and the lasers and the lights and all that stuff. So we're working on that. So that will be the next big thing. And during those shows, we will also sell my new solo album. So that's cool that goes together. So that will be the next big thing.
Prog rock fans are a different breed of fans, and I mean, you have certain musicians where, okay, let's say Beyonce. You'll spend money to go see Beyonce once. Will you spend it to see her again? Maybe new, different album, something different. But prog rock fans will come see you every 2 years to hear the same album again.
It's amazing. They're so incredibly loyal.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And they won't. We play 6 times in 1 week, and some are even coming to more shows than one, and they're coming from 65 countries. It's amazing. They could really like Japan or America or Russia or whatever. Oh, Russia is a bit harder right now, but I always feel guilty, basically, for not coming to them and having them all come to us. But so we always make sure that the whole week will be special. So the whole town of Tilburg, where the venue is being taken over by Arion. You got like the cinema showing Arion movie. You got all the restaurants are making Arion burgers. There's Arion beer. There's clubs with Arion karaoke. So the whole week it's Arion week in Tilburg, just to make it special for those people who come from so far away.
And I'll tell you, I mean, and that's true, because here in the States, I've probably seen Rush a dozen times. The uncle that I told you who introduced me to him, 40, 50 times, my guess.
Whoa,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And travel from far and wide. I mean, I've traveled 8-10 hours to see Rush, but would I do it for, would I travel 8-10 hours to see, some pop artist?
No, it's true.
So, what various social media platforms can our audience follow you and Arjen on?
Well, mostly YouTube is really my thing. That's where I discover bands, and that's also where my clips are. I'm also a lot on Facebook and Instagram, of course, although it's all I'm too old for that. It's getting a bit complex for me, but I know how Facebook works. So that's mainly my main platform. But the whole TikTok thing, I have no idea. I've given up on that.
I've got an 18-year-old son. I've got to get him, to walk me through that stuff too. We're getting old.
Yeah, totally.
So, Arjen, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been, I enjoyed it, definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arjen Anthony Lucassen. That's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to Arjen Anthony Lucassen for joining us. Stay safe, everyone.